Hello and welcome to my presentation on assessing the influence of language anxiety on English oral performance among mainland Chinese postgraduates in a Malaysian public university. This study is particularly relevant given the increasing mobility of international students and the linguistic challenges they face in non-native English-speaking countries like Malaysia. The presentation will start with an introduction, providing background information and outlining the objectives of the study. Next, we'll move on to the literature review, where I will summarize key research and theories that support this study. Following that, the research methodology will be explained, detailing the methods and approaches used for data collection and analysis. Afterward, we will dive into the findings discussions, where the key results will be presented and their significance interpreted. Finally, the presentation will conclude with the conclusion, highlighting the main takeaways and future recommendations. The influx of mainland Chinese postgraduates to Malaysia has brought with it challenges, especially in mastering English oral communication. These students often struggle due to cultural differences, language barriers, and anxiety, which not only affect their academic performance but also hinder their social integration. Existing studies have primarily focused on Western contexts, and there's limited research on Chinese students in Southeast Asian universities. Our study focuses on understanding the specific impact of language anxiety on the English oral performance of mainland Chinese postgraduate students at UiTM Kelantan. We aim to fill the research gap by identifying the main factors contributing to this anxiety. Various factors influence language anxiety. Firstly, cultural adaptation difficulties. Adapting to a new culture and academic environment increases anxiety, especially when students fear violating cultural norms. Secondly, the fear of negative evaluation. Students are often anxious about being judged unfavorably, which reduces their willingness to participate in oral activities. Lastly, insufficient speaking opportunities. Limited real-life practice outside the classroom prevents students from developing confidence and competence in English. Recent research on the experiences of Chinese students in foreign academic context reveals several results. Research by Fan et al. 2023 highlights how studying abroad shapes the multilingual identity of Chinese students. This evolving identity directly influences their confidence and anxiety levels, especially when speaking English. The more aware students are of their language competence, the more their anxiety increases, which can negatively affect their oral performance. The COVID-19 pandemic introduced additional stressors for these students. According to Liu et al. 2022, the pandemic led to concerns like health issues, social isolation, and academic disruptions, which worsen language anxiety. Interestingly, Xiong et al. 2024 found that students from areas with high COVID-19 exposure showed increased interest in studying abroad. However, despite their interest, they also faced heightened anxiety about performing in English-speaking environments. The combined impact of pandemic-related stress and language anxiety may deter many students from pursuing studies in English-speaking countries. This highlights the need for universities to provide strong language support programs and enriching social experiences to help Chinese students succeed. Now let's move to the challenges faced by Chinese students in English medium instruction or EMI programs. First, key barriers. Zhu et al. 2021 found that Chinese students in EMI programs face significant barriers such as language proficiency, academic cultural differences, and a lack of university support. These factors greatly affect their academic success. Next, need for support. To help Chinese students thrive in these contexts, universities need to provide more targeted language and academic support. This could involve language workshops, tutoring, and dedicated resources that address their specific needs. Lastly, importance of inclusive environments. It's equally important to create culturally responsive teaching methods and inclusive environments. This can foster a sense of belonging and ensure that Chinese international students feel supported in their learning journey. Hence, research gaps remain in several areas related to Chinese students' experiences. For example, limited focus on Chinese students in Southeast Asia compared to Western countries. The role of sociocultural factors in shaping language anxiety needs further exploration. More research is needed on the long-term psychological impacts of language anxiety. We also need to better understand effective coping strategies, the role of institutional support, and the impact of longitudinal studies in tracking changes in language anxiety over time. For this study, we employed a qualitative research design, using focus group interviews to gather insights from 7 mainland Chinese postgraduate students at UiTM Kelantan. This approach allowed us to deeply explore their experiences with language anxiety and oral communication challenges. The impact of language anxiety on oral performance reveals that students showed hesitations and avoidance, often opting to write rather than speak. These findings align with Liu et al. 2021, who also noted that language anxiety leads to avoidance behaviors and reduced participation. The findings also reveal several contributing factors to language anxiety, which is academic pressure, peer comparisons, instructor feedback, and limited practice opportunities. These findings align with Zhang et al. 2022, highlighting the importance of supportive peer and instructor relationships in reducing language anxiety. The result shows that fear of negative evaluation were consistent with Wang and Chen 2023 in reducing participation in oral tasks, whereas cultural adaptation challenges were aligned with Wang et al. 2021 on the difficulties in adjusting to new environments. The findings highlight the complex nature of language anxiety and its significant impact on mainland Chinese students' academic experiences. In conclusion, language anxiety significantly impairs oral communication among mainland Chinese postgraduates. This anxiety manifests through hesitations, avoidance, and speech errors. The fear of negative evaluation and cultural adaptation challenges are major contributing factors, while limited opportunities for practice further complicate students' experiences. To mitigate this, educators should focus on creating a supportive and inclusive classroom environment and provide more low-pressure speaking opportunities to build students' confidence in their oral skills. Before we end our presentation, the authors would like to thank Digit 360 for providing a platform for knowledge sharing and research publication opportunities at the International Conference on Management, Informatics, and Social Sciences 2024. Thank you for your attention.